Vegetable stock. A great all-around stock to keep in your freezer when you need it. In our previous episode, I mentioned that stock is a foundation, a building block necessary for refined cooking. And yes, it can be used in the domesticated kitchen. And I'll show you that vegetable stock is just as easy to make, if not easier, than chicken stock. Plus, it's a great vegetarian alternative that tastes bright and fresh, even for the people who love to eat meat. You can use it in sauces, risottos, even soups. Let's climb aboard on this train. Toot toot. Vegetable stock. It's actually not really a stock, except more of a broth. There's no gelatin because it's not a protein-based stock, but I have to say it is one of the most flavorful things I've ever tried. It tastes of pure vegetables. And the way to do this is not just to cut up vegetables, boil them in water, and then there's your stock. I like to use a food processor. I cut up the vegetables and grind them in there as fine as I can, not quite a paste. I'll show you. So we have carrots here. I'm gonna use carrots, leeks, onions, and fennel. Now that our carrots are all cut up, I have about a pound of carrots. Toss these into the food processor. What we're gonna do is we're gonna blitz this until not quite a paste. Look at that. Perfect for stock. You're gonna get so much more flavor out of that than if you just cut them up into 1-inch pieces. We'll throw that right in here. We're gonna do this to all our vegetables. Here I have about 5 pounds of vegetables for about 4 quarts of water. It's a gallon. Similar ratio to our chicken stock. Here we have leeks of about 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds. Leeks grow out of the ground. They can be very dirty. An easy way to clean them is to cut them in half and run water down the center. You want to do these by vegetable, by category. You don't want to just throw carrots in with onions because they're of different densities. They're going to cut at different rates. You'll notice leeks cut a lot quicker than carrots do. There you go. There are leeks. Fennel. Fennel is just beautiful. It has this anise flavor, very similar to licorice. So we'll probably cut this just like an onion. Cut off the base and then cut down the center. And here, and just cut that like that. And last but not least, our onions. You are going to cry a little bit. Just cut these into about 1-inch mirepoix. There you go. And load these into your food processor. If you don't have a food processor, I'd recommend you learning some good knife skills and cutting these by hand. These will turn to a puree very quick. Onions are almost mostly water. And this is your base for vegetable stock. If you wanted to add other flavorants, mushrooms, other herbs, feel free to. It's all about your own flavor profile. So we're gonna do something a little bit differently here. Because we're doing our vegetable stock, we wanna enhance the flavor of the vegetables. So we're actually gonna sweat them down. And by that I mean we're going to put them over a low heat. We don't want them to caramelize, we don't want them to harden, we don't want them to brown. That's gonna cause too much sweetness and it's gonna overpower the stock. So we're just gonna enhance the flavor by sweating them down. So we'll heat this over a medium heat. It's a good amount of canola oil. It's a neutral oil, high smoke point. Inexpensive, one of my favorite oils to use. So we'll heat this up and we'll add our vegetables right in there. Smells fantastic. We'll just coat that in the oil and let that heat up. And then we're going to be adding about 4 quarts of water, similar ratio to our chicken stock. We'll simmer that for about 45 minutes to an hour at the most. Once again, it's a very easy, low maintenance stock. Once we pour our water in, we'll add our herbs. We have fresh parsley, thyme, and bay leaves. Wow, very fragrant. This has been cooking for about 10-15 minutes on a relatively low heat. Once again, we don't want to caramelize, we just want to draw out some of that moisture, soften them, and enhance their flavor. So now we're going to add about 4 quarts of water, cover this whole mixture. It's about good. And then we're going to add our herbs. We'll probably add this whole thing of parsley. We'll add a few sprigs of thyme. Maybe one more. 2 bay leaves. And let that come to a simmer. We'll bring up the heat a little bit more. This stock isn't too high maintenance where you have to, draw out the impurities very slowly. There's no protein in here, so it's a little bit easier to handle. It's a great stock to do for the first time. And there we go. You'll see now that it's about time for us to skim. You can see a good amount of foam has come up onto the surface. So right now I'm just getting out this foam and the oil that comes up. We're just going along the side. You see that white foam. We don't want that in our stock. So we're just about done now. This has been simmering for about 45 minutes to 1 hour. You'll notice that there wasn't very much in terms of impurities. You'll see all we have is this right here. Very different compared to what we had with our chicken stock. So now we're gonna strain this, pass it through the sieve, cool it down, store it just like we did our chicken stock. And if you wanna see that again, you can watch that video. So here we go. So if you enjoyed that masculine episode in vegetable stock, please feel free to hit subscribe or the like button if you're feeling, well, just like an all-around good human being. Until next time, I'm Mike. Stay domesticated.